The treaty also removed restrictions that previously prevented foreigners from learning the Chinese language, fostering greater cultural and commercial exchanges. During World War II, the United States significantly bolstered China's resistance against Japanese aggression through military aid, financial support, and the deployment of personnel, notably the Flying Tigers. This group, officially known as the First American Volunteer Group, AVG, of the Chinese Air Force, was formed in 1941 under the leadership of Claire L. Chennault, a retired U.S. Army Air Corps captain. Comprising pilots recruited from the U.S. military branches, the AVG was tasked with defending China and Burma, now Myanmar, against Japanese forces. Their distinctive shark-faced Curtiss P-40 Warhawk aircraft became emblematic of their daring missions. The Flying Tigers achieved their first combat victory on December 20, 1941, downing 9 out of 10 Japanese bombers attacking Kunming, marking a significant morale boost for both American and Chinese forces. Following Japan's surrender in 1945, the Chinese Civil War between the nationalist Kuomintang, KMT, and the Communist Party of China, CPC, resumed. Despite U.S. support for the KMT, including military aid and advisory assistance, the CPC, led by Mao Zedong, gained the upper hand. By October 1, 1949, Mao proclaimed the establishment of the People's Republic of China, PRC, on the mainland, while the KMT, under Chiang Kai-shek, retreated to Taiwan, continuing to assert itself as the Republic of China, ROC. In the ensuing years, the United States grappled with its China policy amid the broader context of the Cold War and the strategy of containing communism. Initially, the U.S. maintained formal diplomatic recognition of the ROC in Taiwan as the legitimate government of all China, refusing to acknowledge the PRC. This stance was influenced by geopolitical considerations and the desire to support non-communist regimes. The U.S. provided economic and military assistance to Taiwan, reinforcing its position against potential PRC aggression. This policy persisted until the 1970s, when shifts in international relations led to the eventual normalization of U.S.-PRC relations. Cold War period from 1949 to 1971. In the early stages of the Cold War, the United States implemented policies to isolate communist nations, including the People's Republic of China. This strategy involved comprehensive trade embargoes that restricted the export of strategic materials and technology to China, aiming to curtail its economic and political influence. The United States maintained a unilateral embargo until 1969, when the Nixon administration lifted restrictions on most trade to China, except for strategically important goods. Tensions between the United States and China escalated during the Korean War, from 1950 to 1953, as both nations supported opposing sides in the conflict. This direct military confrontation deepened hostilities and solidified divisions between the two countries. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, trade restrictions remained in place. However, by the early 1970s, geopolitical shifts prompted the United States to pursue a policy of détente, leading to improved relations. In April 1971, the United States lifted its trade embargo with China, which had been in place since the start of the Korean War. This policy shift culminated in President Richard Nixon's historic visit to China in 1972, marking a significant step toward normalizing diplomatic relations between the two nations. Rapprochement and normalization from 1971 to 1979. The 1970s marked a pivotal shift in United States-China relations, beginning with President Richard Nixon's groundbreaking visit to the People's Republic of China in February 1972.